You know what July 1st means to us besides 4th of July in the afterlife? It's preparing for Halloween, or as we call it, Ween night. And why? Because that's the time the witches and goblins and the underworld people pop up. But it was something like that. Consider like Adam's Family Gone Wild. Yes. We had this cabin. We got access to a cabin in the or cabin area in the forest preserve, and we start setting it up. Of course, you have to tell the fire department. You have to tell the forest people. You have to tell the police department. There will be smoke and light shows. And many times they show up to watch the light show. And it's special effects. We had a ground set out where a little thin platform where we could do is put a vibration through the platform so the ground feels earthquaking like. And then right to the side we would have this flash of light and smoke and steam you might get coming from the bottom and something coming up out of the ground. And usually it's the person doing that, so he's basically in the ground. We have to dig a hole and everything else and then fill it in when we're done and coming out. It's a light show. Hey, theater is theater, okay? And we would have speakers in the trees, okay? You get this thing, speakers in the trees, and then you would have this whoosh, and on this pulley there'd be basically there's a cloth, that's all, on a broom type thing, as a witch flying past you. Yes, of course she's on a pulley and she turns around and goes back the other way too. But there's also called smell. You want to do is lay out the situation where it looks like a swamp. It's all ground. So you have these, basically it's a couple inches of water, and you have bubbling through this thing, hoses, because it kind of like looks the part of a swamp. It was pretty good. Yeah, we set up a Halloween party, and then we were asked by the city, we did it, can we set something like this up for this city? I said, well, it's not too hard. But then, of course, we also have the mummy. And boy, our mummies kind of look the part. They're green, really moldy green. We were using flour, and we were using flour from mixture, paper mache. Yeah. Keep it wet, keep it warm, and watch it turn green. Mold with the smell of rotting flesh. I think it was fish, or maybe it was chicken, but kind of like you have to have fly swatters around there. But yeah, I mean, it's like, well, of course we had a big Halloween party. Everybody was there. But, it was weed time. And of course, being that we're, afterlife, it's expected. The congregation expects to see this in every imagination. And the city that we were in basically had said, can you give us a haunted house? Yes, but you got to remember there's a difference between us and them, you guys. We expect to get scared, okay? You better understand, we can get a trial run. It's like Disneyland, okay? With the smells and the shock of the earth shaking and the bodies and everything else coming up and the witches and the whole works. You do understand, of course, if it rains outside, the whole effect goes away. can't have electric stuff on the ground, you know. So basically, okay, you're basically going to set up a swamp, with bubbling stuff. Maybe a crocodile opens its mouth. Make it smell. Make it rotten smell. And what you're doing is you're blowing that smell. As the people passes through, you're blowing that smell on them. The coffin opens and this green thing pops up and they get the decayed smell. Which is pretty sickening. You people are all sick! Yes! But that's we for us. And do we have ghosts? Of course we have ghosts. We got goblins. We got the underworld. Hell. And something, of course, we need the devil running around too. Oh. Headless horseman. What? Oh. It's like of course, the thing is, these days, I mean, I don't like to see horror films. I understand the special effects and everything else, and the blood and everything else is all fake. But back in that time, we the color dye stuff, we had to get, we used red dye and corn syrup. Thickened corn syrup with starch, or was it? Or it's like gravy. It's like that's green and smelly. Oh, do I still remember it? Yeah, vaguely I remember something, which I don't have a good mind anymore. But vaguely I remember it. And I also remember the following thing with the city. And they said they did it once. I said, we got a lot of kids that really get scared. I says, well, yeah. Well, see, to us, we know to be scared. We warned you. We warned you. They only did that once. They didn't do it again. They toned down their things coming out there because we also did sound reinforcement. Sound reinforcement is the witches flying across, or the bats. Now that's sound reinforcement, but that's only a small area. The other one is using ultrasonic sound for the shaking of the ground and making the people feel wizzy. They get that sickening smell and they feel sick. But it's only momentarily. And we've warned them, really watch what you're doing. Because our people expect to feel sick, to hear that stuff, to feel headaches and that thing. They expect us. You go to the general public and you better really know what you're doing. You get somebody with a bad heart, you can stop their heart. Ultrasonic waves can really screw everything up. Yeah. And of course you got the slight charges, static electricity. That's always fun to play with. I shouldn't say play with, to use. But again, what are you going to do? I mean, as the city said, they only did it once. They said, we're not going to do this. This is not fun house. This is scare house. This is what goes bump in the night, and we don't want to see what goes bump in the night. And when you get police officers and fire department that feel quizzy, okay, maybe we just increased it a little bit, but just for their effect. They of course, some of the old saying is, it's like magicians. We're not going to tell you. Okay, we're not going to tell you our thing, because there's something like magic in chemistry, and that thing. Magic is magic, and we're not going to give away a store. It's like in Walt Disney's World. I went to Walt Disney's World. I don't care about the attractions. I want to know how they work from behind. That's why I want to go to Walt Disney World. You want to know where the bodies are buried, you might say. You want to see this thing. And of course, I wonder if we can do that. Something like this. So what's asked to do inside of a person's church. Now, okay, and we're going to break out the Word of God. You're going to fill the wrap. I said, okay, you're going to get us to really make your sermon feel that thing, and we did, using ultrasonic. Very little stuff, right? And shaking the windows, shaking the lights, shaking the floor. Especially where people are sitting down, they feel the shake on their feet. It's like the place's carpet. Well, we tore up the carpet, and we people felt, oh my God. Ow! They're Christians. What do you expect? They already got pretty well programmed to feel the wrath of God upon their head. Oh, I don't know how much they collected on that day. The guy said, "Who are you people?" You mean, what are we people? I got to get the illusion up. Where do you people come from? You talk about us all the time. What do you mean, where we come from? You keep talking about us. What do you mean? Where do you think we come from? Of course, I look at the floor. And then, of course, we have this little thing called sulfur. I smell sulfur. Yes, it's a essence of sulfur in the atmosphere. Not much, just a little bit. And of course, we time everything to the guy's sermon. He says, "Oh my God, his donations came in." I said, "Well, yeah, all this costs money, so we'll get you as it is, right?" You don't want to do this every week. Really, the effect wears off quickly. If the same effect is felt the next week, you lose the effect. It's like special effects in movies. You have the special effect once. You don't have it twice in the movie. Same thing in a theater where people are paying and everything to come in and watch a theater group, that is something else. That's where your special effects is every night, because you get a new bunch of people coming in. Some people come back for repeats. That's when you get to make them feel unnervous. That's when you get to control the sound. You can get the smells, the atmosphere, the temperature in the room, very likely in the temperature in the room. You want to make it hot, you want to make it cold, you want to keep it this temperature, because they all have body heat, and that's how you control. Now, in a big church, depending on the size of the church, you happen to have air conditioning, which keeps everything cool, because many times you got the lights, especially if they're older lights, they generate heat. Everything that generates heat can be detrimental to your production. And when you get invited to a church, and this is a long time ago, it's a one-time affair. You don't want to have this thing coming back again, or they're going to figure out that what everything is. The tremors in the feet happens once. You don't have it going on all the time. And we tell them it. We look at his script. Okay, his lecture what he's going to talk about. And when he gets to one thing, we just add a little tremor in the floor. That's the only effect. Once. Okay? The wrath of God. And then we do it with ultrasonic. Not all the time, because you really don't want to wreck someone's life. You want this to go, oh, I feel God. I feel the wrath of God upon me. Or I feel love. Love is a little bit harder to make. You can make a person very nervous in that thing, but love is a little bit harder to make. That goodness and everything else. Hate is easy. Love is something else. And that's what we have. And for like Halloween, it's everything is scripted to this, like going down to Walt Disney's thing to see Walt Disney's thing. Yeah, that's what you're going to do, amusement inside, and that's what we script everything for. But would you like to really do it? Well, we've had back in my day, we had concerts to go through for the rock bands, and that you can use sound reinforcement. Very quickly you have speakers, and you got the sub speakers putting out a different, just at the point of the human ear. Now this other stuff the rock concert is putting out, then you get the other second sound right under it. They're hearing all that other sound, but they're also hearing the little stuff underground. It's like a movie. The music is there, but you don't want to hear the music. You want to hear the sound effects of something. In the theater, you can control the sound. You have speakers. Smell a movie. Didn't work very well. But you could basically, if you rig it right, you can. Again, the witch is crossing the speakers. You hear, 3D. That was, fun because you have the general public there, and sometimes you're using a slight ultrasonic spread, like a bust. As the guy with the axe goes squish, and you hear the squish right through the speakers. Squish. The chainsaw, yeah. Well, it's always a chainsaw or the knife. Of course, where do you people come from? Is a word for it, I guess so. Yeah, well, that's what theater is about. I will admit, yeah. I mean, when we were really getting together and having our congregation, that thing, and with mothers showing up, static electricity, a bolt of lightning sometimes, or this plasma moving across. Okay, it's a show. Show, as Mom would say, it's all a show, folks. I get to be around I've been around for the last 100 generations. I will be around for the next 100 generations. It's all show. Remember, you do it once, you don't do it twice. But that's all. That's Ween for you. I love to do that again. Well, I'm sitting in an office of chemists. Sometimes it used to be at some of our Christmas thing. We had a chemist. The magic of chemistry would give me a lot of fun. Or as I mentioned to a new person, Thank you, Mom. I don't get phone calls very much, as you know, or that thing wouldn't be on right now. But hey, I guess that's a closing music to this Ween. Actually, maybe a bit. Hey, nuts. I guess that's my closing cue to leave. Okay, goodbye. Well, I guess that's quick. I don't know. Oh, goodbye.